busy people getting fit in Fulshear, Texas. Our aim is to help you look better, feel better, and perform better as quickly as possible. I'm your host, Bryan White with Blue Eagle Fitness and Nutrition. Welcome. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here again with Miss Clancy Harbers, who is enjoying another beautiful day out on her patio. How's it going, Clancy?
It's going good. I just swept all the little junk that blew in from that windstorm we had because I wanted to make it all nice for our discussion today.
Great. Well, my favorite part about having these calls is looking at myself on my computer and noticing how large my forehead is. That is by far. And if I don't notice it here, I have blessed with 3 lovely daughters who all remind me of it. And I just tell them, half your genes came from me. So we'll see how it works out.
You're kind of getting to our topic already.
Oh, am I?
With that comment. Yeah.
Okay. What is our topic for today?
Today's topic, I really love digging into this stuff. Today's topic is the victim mentality.
Mentality.
And how to start recognizing it and steps to take to get out of it. So my question to you is, part of the victim mentality is that we all tell ourselves a story, right?
Yeah, sure.
We have a story. I've been telling myself this for 50 and I'm sold out to my story and I'm going to hang on to it till the end of the earth. And occasionally this story could keep me from getting what I want out of life. And so my question is, have you ever had that where you've had a story that kind of ran you and kept you from doing something you really wanted to do or hitting a goal?
Okay. Do I have a story in my head that has kept me from hitting a goal? The answer is yes. So coming out of, how deep do we dive into this? You have to understand that for whatever reason, I have always been surrounded by phenomenal people. I went to my junior and senior years in high school. I went to a boarding school for math and science, just some extremely intelligent people there, and also hard workers. Just phenomenal people. And then I went to college, surrounded myself with another great group of people, spent most of that time with my now wife, who is also brilliant, PhD chemical engineer. Then I go and get a PhD or go to graduate school where, again, I'm surrounded by all these brilliant minds. And so there's always been this story of, I'm good enough to be around these people, but that's it. And you can even take that back to me, my senior year in baseball. We won the state championship, and it's pretty clear that out of the 9 starters, I started, but I was the 9th best player on that team. And that's just kind of been my whole life and so it was easy to fall into a victim mentality, especially around 25, 26, 27, ages 25, 26, 27, coming out of graduate school. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Can I do things that I want to do? And that definitely prevented me from taking chances. Coming out of college, I didn't really look for a job. I took whatever was offered to me, which was a research assistant position that paid almost nothing. That was one of I would say that's an example.
So you said 25, 26. So what steps did you take to start coming out of that? So to start telling yourself a new story to where you could get past that, and instead of just taking any old job to go want.
Sure. So I'll say 2 steps. One was a realization from me that I go with data and facts. Forget your feelings, forget your intent. What did you do? What has happened? Let's look at actual facts and data. And I just asked myself, have you ever failed? Failed? And then you're like, well, what is failure? even if I would have tried for a job and didn't get it, is that failure? I mean, I'd have gotten some job at some point doing something, right? So but you step back and go, I mean, things didn't always happen as quickly as I wanted them to, but I have never failed. I mean, by any definition. So just trying, and when I look back at my life, what separated people from being successful, being less successful, and it's usually just the people who tried. I mean, you can't run a successful business if you don't start a business. That's right. We end up on this rat race, especially in corporate America, where you graduate high school, you go to college, you graduate college, you apply for some jobs, you get 3 job offers, you take one, you go with that company until they fire you. I mean, or until you retire. And then you start looking around. How much is that our lives, as opposed to sitting back and saying, what do I want? What makes me happy? What makes me a better person? And then it was that question of, I've never actually failed, not so bad that I couldn't come out of it. And Tim Ferriss, I don't know if you know Tim Ferriss, he wrote 4 Hour Work Week, 4 Hour Body. He has a thing that he does where instead of listing 10 great successes that could come out, list the 10 worst things that could happen to you if you make this decision. So if I leave corporate America and start a business helping people improve their fitness and so that they can live longer, happier, healthier lives, and it fails, what's the worst that can happen? And you start coming out with this list of 10 things, and then you look at that list and go, well, I mean, that's not terrible. I'll still live. I mean, you'd still learn a ton. You would still grow as a person. Financially, it wouldn't set me back, a whole lot. So, I mean, when you start looking at that list of what would happen if you failed, whatever failure is to you, is it that bad? When you look at it and go, that's not that bad at all.
Did you get a chance? Well, I know you did because you asked me to listen to it. The Chasing Excellence with Ben Bergeron, and I think his name was Mark England, and they talked about mentality.
Yeah, Mark England talking about, I mean, he gets deeper into, on a day-to-day basis, moment by moment basis, how can you get out of the victim mentality in the moment? Right. It's something bad has immediately happened and you're, oh, that's terrible. Whoa. How could that happen to me? And then you start telling yourself that story about how this only happened because you're a bad person. You make bad decisions, and that's, or for me, I'm stupid. Right. I think that's just being around so many smart people growing up that, like, the worst thing I can tell myself is that I'm stupid. So for all my enemies out there who want to pull me down and are still taking the time to listen to my podcast, that would be what they could say about me.
Well, I think it's so interesting because, as I mentioned in one of our other discussions, people are still carrying around a lot of baggage from, he did that to me, she did that to me, he made me mad, or he or she, and we're carrying around these stories. I met a lady the other day, she was still carrying on a story about her sister who told her 20 years ago she didn't deserve something. And so she's holding on to that super tightly. And I've even carried around a story from when I was 6 years old. My dad was in the Army.
Yeah.
We lived, and I had long hair, just like I have right now. And it was blonde, but it was naturally blonde. Now it's not. But in Thailand, I was different. I stood out. And so a lot of the people would come up to me and they would just touch my face and my hair. And I was freaked out. And I didn't realize until much later in life, even at one point, I cut all my hair off because I didn't want anybody putting any attention on me. because it freaked me out. I was 6. And, you know, I carried that around for a long time until I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, I can have my hair long, it's fine. But I was so afraid of, and I didn't realize it, but I was so afraid of attracting attention like that again, where somebody's just, these weirdos are touching my hair. That I went to such an extreme. I kept my hair up. I mean, it was short.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I was miserable because I was like, I'm a loud, outgoing person. And then
Yes, you are.
I started to hide, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I was miserable because I was trying to be something I wasn't. But I didn't realize it. So that was like my small example of like how I was a victim of my own story from a little kid.
Yeah.
How it affected me as an adult, until finally one day I was like, who cares? You know, I can't say I could tell you the exact steps that I took, but I just started being more aware and like letting myself be myself. And that's okay. And not trying to hide myself just to make other people feel better or something like that, you know? So anyway, I think it's fascinating.
Which part? The
Well,
stories we have in our head?
Because we have stories and we bring them into the gym every day. Like, I'm so fat, I can't do this. Or, oh, here we go on this again. I can't do this. I'm so weak. Or I'm going downhill. Like, I'm taking steps backwards, you know, and then we beat the heck out of ourselves for this. And so like, this is daily stuff. I had this conversation with someone today in the gym, like, oh my gosh, we're going backwards. You know, it's like, we're over here having like this pity party about how we're going backwards instead of forwards. And I'm like, wait a second, we're still freaking awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you see the quote of comparison is the thief of joy, you know, especially look at who you compare yourself to.
Awesome
Right?
people.
Yeah. I mean, you look around and you've done a fantastic job. You know, we are the average of the 5 people around us. And we can have another discussion about that because it gets a bit more complicated, because you're not just an average of the 5 people around you, but you know, they're around another 5 people. So you're actually being influenced, and the research is pretty clear. You're being influenced by people 3 degrees away from you, just because they're impacting a circle, which is impacting the circle, which is finally your circle. But you know, you've done a fantastic job of surrounding yourself with wonderful people, and they're helping propel you. You're making steps forward in life. But then you're also just comparing yourself to the wonderful people you have surrounded yourself with. And you're like, whoa, wait just a minute. Why are we comparing anyway? Right? Why? Literally no one cares. I have learned that in golf, like when you're playing golf and in dancing. So actually we're going to digress just a little bit, but I have written my obituary.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, okay. And I'm going to read this to you. This is in my obituary that I've written myself. This is like 8 paragraphs down. This is my advice to you. And if you don't like it, just remember that I'm dead when you're reading this. Dance and play golf, even if you're terrible. Everyone is so narcissistic, they are only paying attention to themselves. No one is watching you dance or play golf. All they care about is if you knock someone's drink over on the dance floor and how quickly you get through your round on the golf course. Like,
I love it.
So, you know, I mean, you know, the people that either you're playing golf with or on the dance floor, you know, I mean, they are not paying any attention to you. They have their own stories in their head, and most of those stories are how terrible they are playing golf or dancing.
And
it doesn't matter. I mean, I've played with scratch golfers who get mad at a bad shot. Right? I have danced with people, with dance instructors who are phenomenal, and they get upset with themselves because they didn't pull off some some dance step just perfectly that literally no one else understood, because we were all just amazed at how well she moved on the dance floor. Right.
I will tell you, I've had more fun like the last 10 years of my life being me and not caring, even if I'm whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
whatever because I just want to be myself. I'm so much happier when I'm myself. I spent so much time comparing myself to everyone else, and how do they look? How do they dress? What, am I too fat? Am this, that? And it's like for women, it is a hard thing. It can be difficult. And I've had more fun, like I said, the past 10 years, just being, I don't care. Like if I want to wear a crop top to the gym, I don't care. Do I have some fat on my belly? Yeah, I do. Don't care. Because this is what I feel good. And so when I come in and I have on my hat and my crop top, I'm like, yes, because I honestly, like, to me, there's nothing better than being around people. And we have a lot of people like that in the gym. Like they're themselves, and they make me want to be more of myself. And it's like freedom, and you're right. Who does care? Nobody. Nobody's come up to me and said, you know what? You got a little flab on your belly. You need to pipe it down, sister.
Yep. You're right.
Right. Do the dance. But if you do knock over my drink, I might be a little irritated.
Well, yes. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. Because now you've gotten into some other narcissistic person's space. And yeah, that's when bad things happen. Just don't do that. And you're fine. So thank you, Clancy. Great question. You can get every episode of Busy People Getting Fit wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can also reach us at busypeoplegettingfit.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.